Why are we in that conversation?
I'm looking around, there's a lot of people
Just
here.
another negative question. I'm not going to get into that.
Danny?
Barry Bonds was once seen as one of the greatest baseball players ever, but then the steroid scandal hit. People began to wonder if his success was really due to his talent or if it was because of the drugs he was accused of using. This controversy didn't just tarnish his reputation. It made everyone question whether his achievements were real. Bonds is a former professional baseball left fielder who played 22 seasons in Major League Baseball. Bonds holds several MLB hitting records, including the most career home runs with 762 and the most home runs in a single season with 73 in 2001. He also holds the record for the most career walks. He led MLB in on-base plus slugging 6 times and was consistently among the top 5 hitters in 12 of his 17 qualifying seasons. Bonds was also a standout defensive player, earning 8 Gold Glove awards for his work in the outfield. With 514 stolen bases, he remains the only MLB player with at least 500 home runs and 500 stolen bases. Despite these impressive achievements, Bonds' career was marked by controversy, especially as a key figure in baseball's steroid scandal. But before we tell you all the details, make sure to subscribe. Since 2003, Barry Bonds has been a central figure in the Bay Area Laboratory Cooperative scandal, which shook the sports world. Balco was known for marketing a performance-enhancing anabolic steroid called tetrahydrogesterone, nicknamed the Clear, because it was undetectable by standard doping tests at the time. Bonds found himself under intense scrutiny when a federal grand jury began investigating his testimony in the Balco case. On November 15, 2007, he was indicted on charges of perjury and obstruction of justice, accused of lying under oath about his alleged use of steroids. The connection between Bonds and Balco became more evident in 2003 when Greg Anderson, Bonds' personal trainer since 2000, was indicted by a federal grand jury. Anderson was charged with supplying anabolic steroids to athletes, including several baseball players. This development fueled speculation that Bonds had used performance-enhancing drugs, especially during a period when Major League Baseball had no mandatory testing for such substances. Bonds, however, maintained his innocence, insisting that his enhanced physique and power were the results of rigorous bodybuilding, a disciplined diet, and legitimate supplements. During his grand jury testimony on December 4, 2003, Bonds admitted to using a clear substance and a cream provided by Anderson, who claimed they were simply flaxseed oil and a balm for arthritis. However, later reports based on Bonds' leaked grand jury testimony suggested that he may have unknowingly used the cream and the clear, which were in fact performance-enhancing drugs. In July 2005, as the Balco steroid scandal continued to unfold, all 4 defendants, including Anderson, struck deals with federal prosecutors. These deals allowed them to avoid revealing the names of athletes who might have used banned substances, leaving many questions unanswered.
A mistrial was declared yesterday on 3 charges that he lied under oath about using steroids.
In 2003, Bonds made a bold and unusual decision to withdraw from the MLB Players Association's licensing agreement. This move was significant because it marked the first time in the 30-year history of the licensing program that a player chose not to participate. Bonds believed that by opting out, he could secure more profitable independent marketing deals on his own, rather than through the collective agreement. This decision had far-reaching implications. By stepping away from the MLBPA's licensing program, Bonds effectively removed his name and likeness from any merchandise or products that the MLBPA licensed. This meant that if a company wanted to use his image or name, they had to negotiate directly with him, bypassing the usual channels. As a result, Bonds' absence became particularly noticeable in baseball video games, where his likeness was noticeably missing. Game developers, faced with the challenge of including Bonds without having the rights to his image, often resorted to creating generic athletes to take his place. These generic replacements were sometimes noticeably different from Bonds, with some being depicted as white or having a different handedness. These changes were likely made to avoid any potential legal issues related to player likeness. Bonds' decision to go independent was a clear indication of his confidence in his marketability and his willingness to take control of his own brand. Even if it meant breaking away from long-standing traditions in the sport, His personal life, too, was a scandalous one. In August 1987, Bonds met Susan Margaret Branco, the woman who would become the mother of his first two children, Nikolai and Shikari. Their meeting took place in Montreal, Quebec, and their relationship quickly blossomed. Just a few months later, on February 5, 1988, the couple eloped to Las Vegas. However, their marriage was not destined to last. By June 1994, Bonds and Son had separated, and their divorce was finalized in December of that same year. In 1997, the Catholic Church annulled their marriage, closing that chapter of their lives. On January 10, 1998, Bonds married his second wife, Liz Watson, in a lavish ceremony at the San Francisco Ritz-Carlton Hotel. After the wedding, they settled down in Los Altos Hills, California, where they lived together with their daughter Aisha. For over 10 years, they seemed to have a stable and happy life. However, after a decade of marriage, cracks began to show. On June 9, 2009, Watson filed for legal separation, citing irreconcilable differences as the reason for their split. The news came as a surprise to many who had seen the couple as a strong unit. But just 6 weeks later, on July 21, 2009, Watson announced that she was withdrawing her legal separation request, suggesting that the couple was working on their relationship. They managed to reconcile and spent the next 7 months trying to make things work. Unfortunately, the reconciliation didn't last. On February 26, 2010, Watson formally filed for divorce in Los Angeles, signaling the end of their marriage. This time, there was no turning back. However, instead of letting the divorce become a public spectacle, Bonds and Watson chose a different path. On June 6, 2011, they reached a legal agreement to settle their divorce privately, agreeing not to take the matter to trial. By deciding to handle the end of their marriage in an uncontested manner, they ensured that the details would remain out of the spotlight, allowing both of them to move on with their lives without further court involvement. Despite all the drama, his career was indeed a great one.
There is number 100, and the Pirates lead 3-0.
Bonds retired with an impressive list of records that cemented his place in baseball history. He holds major league career records for home runs with an astonishing 762 and for walks with 2,558, including a remarkable 688 intentional walks. At the time he stepped away from the game, Bonds was also leading all active players in several other key categories. He had driven in 196 runs, and his on-base percentage was an outstanding 434. He crossed home plate 2,127 times, played in 2,986 games, and amassed 1,140 extra base hits. When it came to hitting home runs, Bonds was unparalleled, with an average of just 12.92 at-bats per home run, and he accumulated 5,976 total bases. In addition to these records, Bonds ranked second in doubles with 601 and had a slugging percentage of 607, just short of the all-time best. He also stole 514 bases, putting him second in that category as well. His career included 9,847 at-bats, 2,935 hits, 77 triples, 91 sacrifice flies, and 1,139 strikeouts, making him a dominant force in nearly every aspect of the game. One of Bonds' most remarkable achievements is that he is the only member of the 500-500 club, a unique milestone that means he hit at least 500 home runs and stole at least 500 bases during his career. No other player has even reached 400 in both categories, which highlights just how exceptional Bonds was. Additionally, he is one of only 5 players in history to join the 40-40 club, which means he hit 40 home runs and stole 40 bases in the same season. He achieved this feat in 1996 with 42 home runs and 40 stolen bases. The other members of this exclusive club include Jose Canseco, Alex Rodriguez, Alfonso Soriano, and Ronald Acuna Jr. Bonds' combination of power and speed, along with his consistency and longevity, set him apart as one of the greatest players in baseball history. That is it for this one, but if you happen to like MLB Legends, make sure to check out our latest videos on our channel MLB Icons. I'm sure you will love it.